Should we do the breathing again, or?
We do like 3 deep breaths.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, after all those technical difficulties, we're setting the intention that this is going to go great and that it's going to be better than the first run.
It was a very stressful period, mind you. Like,
yes.
What the fuck?
Like, what the fuck was that?
I don't know. My brain is smooth now after all that, and I wasn't even the one doing it. So, let the record show. I'm not the engineer behind this.
No, but I mean, still, you were there to support and like.
Did I though?
And I was about to go crazy, and so you were there to.
My mouth was hanging open the whole time, like, what the fuck's happening?
So yeah, so this is our first episode.
Episode number 1. Here we fucking go.
How many hours later?
I mean, hey, that doesn't matter. We won't talk about it. You did great. Better than I ever would have. I would have stormed out already.
We're good. And this is...
Her shot.
No apology.
Hell yes. Never sorry.
Never sorry. Never.
Ugh. And episode 1 is all about turning 30.
Turning 30. It's a big one. We're just... I feel like in this like new
era.
Thank
a whole new decade.
A whole new decade, and like, you know, I guess the reason why we started this is because of that theme, right?
Yeah. It was like a start off from like a crisis, maybe?
Maybe.
Inspiration.
Yeah. Maybe a quarter life crisis.
Yes.
Right?
Quarter life. Yes, definitely quarter, not half.
And we both felt the same about it.
Yes.
Which, for context, we turned 30 earlier this year.
Yeah.
So I was January.
I was March, baby.
Yeah. So first quarter of the year.
Check it off, right?
And so, you know, we wanted to share about that experience and how
we are trying to handle it.
Exactly.
We're going through the motions.
Definitely.
So,
I would say that the first half of the year has been emotional turmoil for me.
Oh my god, halfway through the year.
Yeah. That's the other thing is like, where does the time go? Because like, I feel like my 20s, I honestly still feel like I'm 25.
Oh yeah. When I feel like when you turn 30, that's the true mark, like this true start of adulthood. And I'm like,
right.
Me?
Right. Like,
absolutely not.
Oh, we have to grow up?
Yeah, like, I don't have my shit anywhere close to being together.
Absolutely not. And that's, I think, the other thing about turning 30 is the fact that, like, feeling like, holy shit, like, do I have my shit together? No.
Does anybody?
Do I want to actually live my life and do things that are out of, I guess, context of what we think we should be doing?
Oh, yeah. That's a
maybe.
great question. Absolutely, though. I mean, I think now we have the money, we have the time, generally speaking.
Right.
We'll make the time.
If
we don't have the time. And we're just going to make shit happen. I think that's really like a good way to look at your 30s. Because I think when you're younger, you have all the time in the world, but you don't have any fucking money.
Right. And that is so true. And that's what brings us here to this podcast is the fact that, like, we are just tired of living up to other expectations or what we've believed is, like, what 30 should look like or what this era should look like. We're wanting to make this life that we have what we want it to be.
Right.
And that's, I think, the theme for me, at least, is that I'm just no longer going to hold back, and I'm going to, you know, take her shot, which is essentially taking opportunities and not apologizing for it. This is a great opportunity. When you sent me that text message of like, Carlene, I have a crazy idea. By the way, let's start with the name because I'm gonna go back and forth. Obviously, Denise is my middle name, and I used to go by Denise growing up, and I miss that, and so I want to get back to that, and so that's why I've decided to name myself on the podcast Denise instead of Carlene. But sometimes you will see me, and you may see Sam calling me Carlene because I mean that's my name. That's what I go off of.
Until I form the new habit.
Yes. So I'm even trying to form the new habit, but yes. And so yeah, so like basically, when you texted me and you were like, I have a crazy idea. I'm like, what could it be? What could your crazy idea be? Because I have crazy ideas now.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when you said that and you were like, do you want to do a podcast? I was like screaming at the top of my ear. I was like, yes.
It is so funny. Oh my God.
And yeah, it's been so great to like come to this point.
Let me tell you, I was sweating about, like, I typed it out and I was like, this bitch is gonna think I'm nuts. But then I was like, you know what? Everyone else seems to do it. Like, why not give it a shot? It's not like, what do we have to lose?
What
right?
do we have to lose?
So I think it's a good time to share our experience because I'm sure we're not the only ones that feel certain ways about the topics we plan to cover during this podcast. And, you know, there's no better time to start than now.
Exactly. That was the other thing that we talked about is like what topics would people really resonate with, and I think that on this podcast we're going to talk about it all.
Yeah.
Everything, you name it.
The nitty gritty.
We're going to talk about it all. And, you know, it's like we're also going to be having some great guest speakers on here.
So excited.
And it just makes it so that, you know, it could be a conversation with so many other people. Like, we just started going to the gym this past year for like 6 months, 7 months together. And we fell off a little bit there, you know.
Because we turned 30.
Because we turned 30. Yes. Like,
and it's the whole crisis thing got in the way a little bit.
Yeah. And so we started, like, you know, just having shit to talk about.
Yeah.
And, like
girls do.
And so it's just such a great time to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking a little bit about how why I feel like at the same time how I wish I did start something like this in my 20s. At the same time, I'm like, well, if I did, I feel like I wouldn't have been my full authentic self. I feel like I wouldn't have come off as you know, as me. And like, because, you know, when I feel like when everyone was kind of building a platform with like social media and with like YouTube or with just any type of platform, I always envisioned like, oh my gosh, like there's so much to it, like I can't do that, like, and that's why like I don't think I've ever done it, but nowadays you have like things like TikTok where, you know, people actually love to see the natural, authentic, unedited version
100%,
of you. And so I think that's why it's such a great moment to start this, because that's like the theme of like being yourself and being okay with being yourself and not caring about what people are going to think, because this is your life and, you know, you make it what you want it to be.
Right. You don't have to water yourself down.
You don't.
To accommodate anybody in your life.
You don't.
And there's some confidence that goes along with that. I think once you have that moment, and I will say, for me, it was a moment, right, where you just kind of wake up and you think to yourself, why am I acting like I'm interested in certain things when I'm not? Or why don't I just take the reins of my life? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to look back and think, damn it, I wish I did this, because for me that's what 30 was. Like, I looked back at the last 10 years of my life and I'm like, shit, I feel like I wasted it. I should have done this, that, and the other, and I didn't.
Oof.
And that, it was almost like a mourning or a resentment towards myself.
Yeah.
And it sucked. But, you know, then I think, okay, well, what do I want these next 10 years to look like, and tailoring my life towards that and the genuine interests that I have.
Right, right. I love how you say it was like a mourning of your old self.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I talk about a lot in that in our phases of life. Like we actually
Yes.
always are going through deaths of our old self.
Right.
And that it could be like it could be where you're feeling lost, you're feeling like, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking and overthinking about what it is you're doing. And so, but you're constantly evolving.
Right.
And that's, I think, what we need to accept is that we're never going to be the same.
Right.
We're never going to be the same. Some people could view us as a certain persona, but with life experiences, with shit we go through, we evolve.
Yeah.
And so that's why there shouldn't be any reason to care about what people think, because you're not your old self, you're not your old experiences, you are who you become.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And so when you said like a mourning of your old self, I would say I resonate with that a lot, because in my 20s, I would say that, like, you know how some people actually say that like their 20s they feel like they had like more energy, or they had like more physical abilities, or whatever it may be.
Right.
For me personally, I actually like mobility was not a thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to deal with a lot of chronic illnesses, and that had to do with, honestly, a lot of inflammation derived from my diet,
Mm-hmm.
from stress, from cortisol levels, from food we eat, from the stress, from everything. So that was my 20s. So I feel like now that I'm 30, and now that I'm here, I don't know, it's like a new person has evolved.
Yeah.
And I feel like the best I've ever felt.
Oh, I love that.
Like physically, I can lift, I can do yoga. I like, that is something else too, where like before I wasn't even able to like a squat, for instance.
Yeah.
The mobility like restriction that I had from, and you know, you always heal from like different parts of your body.
Right.
And so when you're doing different movements and stuff, and so that was something I had to really focus on, is the mobility in like different areas. And just that alone, like, to see the progress, I'm like, holy shit, like I can actually squat now. Before it was like a struggle to do even like halfway.
Yeah.
But so like on a physical standpoint, I feel like my best self. But then on the mental side, I will say I started therapy.
Good. I mean, that's awesome. That's something that I think a lot of people are finally starting to actually come out about and feel comfortable admitting that they're participating in. And it's good. I mean, I unfortunately haven't started therapy. I have given it some thought, just because I think we all have some sort of baggage that we think that we've processed but haven't.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, like, am I ready for that closet door to be open and let all my skeletons out? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's awesome. That's very brave, to be honest.
It is. And it's something also that like we have such good access to that like maybe like our parents never had access to, or whether they did or not, it was just something that was not talked about.
Yeah.
And so we talk about it more nowadays, because we have the access to it. And when you do feel it's right, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But it is very scary. I think I actually tried it years ago, and then didn't go back. So that's the other thing, is like finding a good therapist, because you have to meet with someone that, you know, you can essentially connect with, that gets you and understands, but also will keep you accountable. And so that could be hard. But I do think that it's changed my life completely, because I'm the type of person that will hold a lot of shit in. I bottle up emotions.
Yes.
I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
I don't try to be emotional at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what my therapist has asked me to talk about, I'm like, all of a sudden, bawling my eyes out,
Right.
crying for months at a time because of it, because of that door opening, like you were mentioning. So it is something that you have to kind of like be open to do,
mm-hmm.
because there is going to be a lot of unpacking, a lot of crying,
Yeah.
which is healing, but it is difficult. And one thing that you actually asked me, and that my therapist asked me, is what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh.
So I'm gonna ask you.
The advice I would give my younger self. Well, I would probably start with, don't focus so much on what everyone thinks about you. Don't focus on dating boys. Like, I feel like that's kind of where I messed up. Like, I was more like focused on dating and like, oh, what boy likes me, and I was just the girl that always had a boyfriend. And when I wish I would have focused more on my friendships and making sure that they were good, lasting friendships, because throughout my high school and even college time frame, I never really got the opportunity to connect with a lot of people that I had similar interests with, and those that I did, the friendships didn't last long because I was so involved in my dating life. Yeah, so that would be a good piece of advice that I would offer her. I think another one would be to truly invest in things that make you happy, especially when it comes to getting a degree. For a point, I was going to go to college for like graphic design or something in the art field, but that voice inside of my head saying, no, you're going to be a starving artist, really got to me, because I didn't want to be broke. Like, I had goals, you know. I wanted to live in the big fancy house and go to the vacations and travel and do all those things. So I unfortunately didn't go that route and went completely different, more something along the lines of human development. But and now here we are.
Human development.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to be a therapist. Full circle
my
here.
God.
Yeah, I actually wanted to be a divorce counselor or a marriage counselor, and yeah, I don't think I'm qualified for that.
I love that.
Yeah, so it was an interesting pivot, but still very cool. Got me to where I am today. But yeah, if there's any advice I could give to the younger ladies out there, just do what makes you truly happy. Really assess that now and figure that out, and then move forward with that, because you're gonna feel a lot more fulfilled, and you're not going to look back 10 years from now and say, damn it, I wish I had gone that. Now, that's not saying that it's not too late, depending on how old you are now, but you know, the pessimist in me always has that thought of, well, you could have been doing this the whole time, and now you just lost 10 to 15 years of doing something that you could have loved. But, you know, that's, again, devil's advocate, the devil on my shoulder talking to me.
Oh my God, I resonate with all of that. Like when you touched on focusing on your dating life. So I feel like that is us like trying to find love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's kind of what we grew up to believe we had to do.
Yeah.
Right? Is like find your person.
Mm-hmm.
All these movies that we grew up watching, all these like romantic love stories, all these songs that would come out, it would always be about a person, a partner. So yeah, relationships were always like on the forefront,
right,
than just genuinely building connections with people based on your interests, but and things like that. So I definitely resonate with that. And one piece of advice I would give my younger self growing up is, yeah, they're gonna sweet talk you.
Oh God, yes.
They're gonna sweet talk you to get what they want, and
say
then
everything
then
they can.
they're gonna
Yes.
go goodbye. Finding love for me, like trying to find love for me was like just I was just I think we talked about this, where like a hopeless romantic kind
Oh
of
yes.
thing, where like the smallest attention or the smallest like pickup line
Right.
would get me hooked, and like I would want to
You're like putty in their hands.
yeah, I would just try to find love in that person. And so that caused a lot of heartbreak.
Yeah.
And when you invest in people, or when you give yourself up to someone, I'll get deep, I don't care. I'll be
We're
free.
here for it.
You actually absorb a lot of their energy.
Yeah.
And so that's something that like in therapy that I'm trying to actually heal from and unpack, is like all the different energy that I have carried through from all of those different heartbreaks, because it wasn't just one, it wasn't just a couple. When you do give yourself up, you are absorbing their energy.
Yeah,
and so you're
absolutely.
taking on their baggage, and it can carry on for years and years and years to come. And then later on in life, it's like, oh, like, do you know how to love? If you ask me, I don't.
No.
Because my upbringing was like different. It was like my parents, they weren't together.
Mhm.
My dad was very distant. Like, communication was not there. That's why my communication sucks ass. And then yeah, my mom was just trying to figure it out as well. So it's like, yeah, our upbringing tells us a lot about what we think love looks like.
Right.
And it could be very different. Your partner could want love a different way than what you think it is.
Yes.
And so it's all about like just collaborating and coming together to see what it is that works for both of you, to have that balance. And then the second thing you talked about with your career, oh my gosh, like I went from like wanting to go into the military,
wow,
to wanting to be in like skincare, so being like a dermatologist, so science degree, to then wanting to be an entrepreneur and have a business degree.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
To then like I switched my major so many times in school.
Yeah.
And it was just so difficult to figure out what it is I wanted to do. And so I guess, it's so common for people to go to school for one thing, and they do the complete opposite, or they do a completely different field.
Absolutely.
So I think the advice I would give my younger self on like career and school wise is like to think about what responsibly could get you to a place that you want to be.
Yeah.
But also to realize that like, it all eventually is going to be okay. Like if I were to stick with the life that I wanted, was I wanted to be able to have my own home, my own car, clothes, nice shoes, nice stuff. I like the nice stuff.
Same.
I'm a hardworking bitch, so I'm gonna
yeah,
work
you
for
are.
that, right? So that meant I wanted to have a job that paid well.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
And some people, they don't care about the materialistic things.
Yeah.
And that's great too. Like that's awesome too. And honestly, that is honestly good.
Honestly, good for you.
It is very good.
Cannot relate. Little jealous.
Yeah, it is very good, because I mean, at the end of the day, I do want to tap into more of that, of like not caring about materialistic things, because life is just so much more than the materialistic things.
Right.
But to those like who aren't like working for a big house or big car, that's not really needed, because once you have it, you're like, am I still happy? Right. Did this really make me happy? You realize for like a moment.
Yeah, that
but it's so
instant
easy for us to
gratification.
say that because we've gotten it. So that's why I want to be careful about
Right.
about talking about that. But it's the truth. It's like you know, those are the things that temporarily give you happiness.
Yeah.
But it's all about within, right? So what advice I would give my younger self is that you know, what you want is what you can achieve. You just work towards that, and you put energy towards that, and then everything else will work out the way it should. And there are going to be things that could get in the way. There are going to be moments like, for example, there was a job that there was a job that like basically like sold me this dream job of like, you're gonna make this much money, you're gonna do this and that. It ended up being a shit show. It was like a brand new company that came out, and it was like, it was a shit show. So I was like, I can't do this anymore, and so I was out a job for a couple months, and that's that's when I found that at that moment is when I found property management.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for that, if I hadn't gone through that, because I was comfortable where I was. I was working a retail job and doing makeup, and I loved doing it. It was fun. But I let that go to go for this job that was supposed to be like, you know, all good and stuff, and it led me to a better career. Yeah. So things are always going to kind of work out the way they should. There's just always going to be things in the way.
Oh, obstacles. So I mean, life wouldn't be life without obstacles.
The obstacles, yeah.
But I do love that, like, you never stopped investing in yourself. Yeah. Which is good, right? I mean, I think anytime that we're kind of fumbling through life, as long as you bring it back to that, is this going to be good for me? What can I do to continue to move forward instead of feeling like you're stuck? That's the resiliency behind that is inspiring, really, because not everyone has that ability, or, you know, sometimes they don't have the means maybe to go through things like that, or the support around them to help keep them move forward. Oh goodness, now I can't talk. To help keep them moving forward. But we even kind of talked about earlier what we thought our life was gonna be in our 20s, and like the kids, and being married, and things like that. And I think you and I are almost kind of similar. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be married by the time I'm like 22 or 23, and I'm gonna have kids by the time I'm 23 and 24. And looking back now, thinking that, for me personally, not a chance in hell.
I am not ready. Like I just turned 30, and I feel like I am just now rediscovering who I am. Yeah. And I know it sounds selfish, but I'm just not ready. It's not to say that I don't want them, because I know they're amazing, and yeah, I would want to leave a legacy. But, but personally, I'm just not ready, and I can't believe I was 18 saying I want to be married and have kids by 23.
Me? Being the adult at 23?
No. And there's so much pressure from, you know, the outside world on that, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people ask that question, and it's just like a topic that should be just kind of very sensitive, because you don't know what people go through. Oh yeah. Like, you don't know if like someone can't have kids. Oh my god. Or if they're trying and they can't, you know, or if they don't want them, or, you know, whatever the situation is. It's a very sensitive topic, and I think that it's one that you should mind your business about.
Oh, 100%. My family is like that, where you know, it's my mom's side of the family. Anytime I see them, when are you having kids? And it's like, don't worry about it. It's got nothing to do with you. And when I decide to have children, you will know about it. Right. That's just a topic that I don't understand why some people are still so open about asking. That's a question that I just could never ask somebody.
No.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's like okay to have kids at a later age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the technology that's out there,
Right.
like it's possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Like who is it that had a kid at like 42? Was it one of the Kardashians or something?
I think so. Yeah. What? Well, wasn't it? Oh, Courtney.
Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, she. I mean, she can do it.
There's a lot of people who have kids at a later age.
Yeah.
And they're fine. So, yeah, a lot can change too in a short time frame.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm so glad we landed on the same page with that. Is that like we're just not ready.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like another weird feeling that I had whenever I turned 30, because I did look back at my 20s and I was like, shit, like
Right.
I didn't get to
clock.
travel. Yes, I didn't travel. Like I wish I got, a master's degree or another degree in something else, and I wish that I just did more. And now I feel like, okay, I'm 30. I want to travel. Like that's a really big goal of mine this year, or this, next few years really. But then I have that biological time clock in the back of my head where I'm like, well, shit, like if I'm going to do this, I should probably do it soon. Otherwise, what are the chances of me, being able to
And it's hard to travel with babies.
It's hard to travel with just me half the time. I
Yeah.
mean, let alone a whole nother human.
Yeah.
And my husband.
And it's expensive.
Yes.
And I like nice things. So I have to give up a lot of nice things to have a baby.
Yeah. Honestly, like it's kind of sad. Whenever what's funny though is when I go to the store, if it's for somebody else's baby, 100% hands down, take all my money. But if I'm shopping at the store with the intent of buying myself something, I don't know, even for my own child, if I would be like, well, but mommy wants some shoes. But I mean, we'd have to just buy both, like 2 pairs of shoes, one for you, one for me.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine just busting my ass at work and dealing with some of the things that we deal with and earning hard-earned money.
Oh yeah.
And then spending it on something else.
Yeah.
And obviously we're speaking not being mothers, but I'm sure things will change if that ever changes. But
yeah, and I mean, and it's like I am so inspired by mothers because they can show us that it can be done.
Yes.
While we can't see it for ourselves. There are so many mothers out there who do it all. Like
yes.
Like I've seen mothers that are like working full time, creating social media content,
caring for their kids full time,
doing that side business. There are mothers out there that are doing it all.
Yeah.
And so like and like we can talk about that too. Like when we have guest speakers on the podcast who are mothers, like they can share their experiences with us and maybe provide some insight.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's just like we just don't have that. Like I guess I have not seen that as much growing up, and so I see it sometimes, but I'm like, but it's like very far and few in between.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I feel like it when you become a mother, it's like your whole life it just changes, and it's just curated to being a mother. And that's something that like some people that's what they want, that's what they strive to be,
right.
That's the role that they feel like they've been just created to be, right? Like some people love that role. But for me, like I just the many roles, I'm someone that likes to be multifaceted. And so I don't want to just be restrained to just one role. But if I can see more like mothers out here who are multifaceted in that.
Oh my gosh,
Like
yes.
like we need to see more of that. And I've seen it. I've seen it, and we need to see more of it. I know it's hard. Oh, it's fucking hard.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely difficult.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
And I think it depends on your partner too.
Yes.
Like
100%.
there's always this one mom that I'll remember from the daycare I used to work at. I believe she worked at the hospital doing admin, something admin related. But she would bring in her kiddo every day, dressed pretty nice, for daycare, because you get messy and everything. But nap stuff was always clean. Lunch was always made, and it was always a well-rounded lunch. And hair done, like all of it. She had herself together, and all I could think about was like, there's just no chance in hell I could ever. I'd be like throw an Uncrustable in a lunchbox with some fruit and like a Slim Jim, and you can beat it. Like I just.
That is the other
It's
reason
crazy.
why I also just don't see it for myself, because I'm like for example today I slept in.
Could you imagine? Oh my god.
And I actually looked over at Cam and I was like, we can't like sleep in like this.
Yes. Yes, like it
You
would
have
not
no
happen.
8 hours of sleep as a mother.
No, and like honestly, y'all are built different, because I just don't think I could handle that right now in my
Right now, but
right now.
I will say it could change, and
Yes.
and it can change, and if you want it, it can change.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like you can really, if you want something, you can achieve.
Yeah,
it.
go for it.
Kind of like how mornings were for me. Like
Yeah.
I was never a morning person. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that I was going to get up at 4:45 in the morning to go to the gym, I would have looked at you like you are absolutely insane. Like absolutely
Crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
So like that changed. So yeah, like we can always evolve, and we can always learn new things. And so that's one that I would definitely have to learn, because it's a role that's very, very difficult.
Yes. A lifetime.
Requires a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of money.
Yeah.
All three.
So shout out to you moms out there.
Shout out to you, moms.
You're doing
We
great.
love you.
We hear you. We see you. You're awesome.
No, seriously, like inspired.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Inspired. But as someone, I know I'm not a mother, but I would like to say that if you are a mother and you're watching this, just know that you could be multifaceted as well.
Yeah.
You're not just one role.
No.
You're not just a wife. You're not just a mother. You're not just a worker. You're not just a friend, a sister, a daughter. You could be who you want to be.
Anything you want to be.
Like
yeah.
whoever.
Yeah. It's kind of funny you say that. My sister had a baby about a year or so ago, and a few months ago I could tell she was a little off, and it was kind of like one of those moments where she no longer felt like a person. She's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't have a job right now, so she lost a part of herself, because she's just a mom. And not that that's a negative thing, but I think we as humans need that interaction with other people, and we need to have that ability to go do other things with people our age or similar in age, and kind of get out of the house and breathe a little bit. So seeing that, hearing that, it truly broke my heart, because there's nothing you can do. That she has to want to do it for herself, and but she's across the country without any family, so it's kind of hard to support when you're not there. So it did break my heart whenever I kind of gathered that information from her. But
it's something that I feel like a lot of moms don't really talk about a lot, because they have to put up this persona like, I've got it together, I've got it, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much pressure to being a good mom.
Yes, 100%.
When there's no like rule book, there's no like there's nothing that can teach you how to be a good parent.
Yeah.
Because of how everyone is raised so differently, and like what you've seen and everything, and like so there's this pressure to to look like you have it together, and by other moms too.
Yeah.
It's almost like a competition.
Yes. Oh my
Like, who's a better
gosh.
mom?
The Lululemon moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the keeping up with the Joneses type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just a lot of pressure from the outside world, and that goes back to like pleasing others.
It
Like,
does.
as
Sometimes
long
it's
as-
okay to let your kids frolic in the rain or in the mud. Let them get some dirt on their face. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean,
And okay, like if your kid is like wanting to jump on a table and it's embarrassing, like they're a kid.
yeah.
They're a kid. As long as they're not hurting themselves or hurting others,
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, yeah, you can do something about
Just
that.
let them do their
But
thing.
yeah, there's so much pressure from the outside world of like being a good mom, and it's like that shit's hard.
Yeah. But like define being a good mom.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, can you tell me?
Yeah. I mean, especially
Especially because every kid is different.
I was just about to say that. Every kid's different, and I feel like there's all these diagnoses now where, I mean, there's allergies that are so common, I feel like, these days, or, special needs kiddos and things like that, where there quite literally is no rule book, outside of the norm, those atypical kids. Oh, bless you, because it's tough.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Especially the different like disorders, like
Oh my gosh.
because like there's a lot now that's being like investigated or researched,
Yeah.
and so like there's all these like tests out there and stuff like that, and so there's also a lot of like pressure on like, oh my gosh, like is my kid like
Yeah.
going to be labeled as
Right.
something. And that's the other thing is like these labels that are out there of like let's for instance autism. Someone has said to me the other day, like, I prefer to not call my kid autistic. I prefer to call him he has autism.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you're removing the label from the person.
Yes.
And so that was like really powerful, because like and honestly, like they're some of the smartest kids.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
the smartest kids, and there are so many disorders that are out there,
Yeah.
and we all have different things to have to navigate, and so that's just another one of them that's very challenging. But yeah, definitely, there's just so much pressure of like how to be a good mom, and it's
Yeah.
like there's no rule book. Just do what you can.
Yeah, there's no right way to do it.
do what you can.
Yeah, honestly. As long as they grow up to be like a functioning member of society and, they can handle their own, I'll say you're doing pretty good.
Right.
Now, us on the other hand, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Yeah, like, yeah, here we are.
And that's another thing about turning 30 is like your goals that you used to have are just different.
Completely different.
What are some goals that you have now that are different from when you
Yeah.
were 20?
So I'll say I am really striving to be, I'm already financially independent, but I want to be financially literate, if that makes sense.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, like I'm more interested in understanding how stocks and investments work and really setting myself up for the future, because like we just said, we like nice things. And I don't want that lifestyle to stop just because I retire. And I do see, there's just so many people out there that are retired and they're on a fixed income and they're struggling to make ends meet. And I just don't want to, I don't want to fall into that category. And then, traveling is a huge goal of mine. I really want to travel internationally and see the places on my bucket list and do all the things and really be intentional about making memories, because that's something that I just never really had the means to do so the last 10 years. And whenever I did finally start having the means to do so, it was we bought the house, and then we got married, and we did that type of thing, which is expensive. So, you know, and then it was, you know, finding the person that you wanted to do it with too, of course, takes some time. So those are my two big goals. You know, I've even thought about going back to school and getting another degree. Although it's expensive, that's like the one deterrent, but it's kind of a balancing act of those three things of which one do I want to tackle in the at the forefront, and go from there. But I mean, like you said, it's ever evolving. I mean, ask me 2 years from now, it'll probably change.
Yeah, definitely. I think the financial literacy is huge.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't think you see a lot of women who talk about it.
No.
And so whoever is talking about it that's a woman, we
Props
need to promote.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we need to understand it too.
It's such a male dominated field, and we're severely behind as the female population.
Yes. And it's hard. Like, I got into stocks 2-3 years ago during COVID, and I failed badly. Because, like, you have to, like, the other thing too that's hard is, like, balancing different things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Because, you know, your primary source of income is, like, what you spend most of your time on.
Yes. Yeah.
And because that's the bread and butter. That is what's gonna be stable. That is what's, you know, keeping me have lights on in the house.
Oh yeah.
And a roof over my head. So to do these, like, side things, these, like, side hustles, and if you will, it's hard because, you know, you gotta use up all the 24 hours in the day.
Yeah.
Because the 8 hours of the day is for the job, the main job, and then you have time after that. And then you have to sleep.
Yeah. It's crazy. As you're saying that, I'm like, okay, we're doing the...
How do you do it all?
How do you do it all? But I was like, okay, the 5 to 9 at the gym in the morning, and then you're 9 to 5 at work during the entire day, and then you're 5 to 9 in the evening. Yeah, when do you sleep? Yeah.
And that's the other thing that's hard with, like, the whole stocks and stuff, and I think that's why I failed, because I don't have the time to be looking at these stocks. So definitely trying to find different ways to do it. Like, I know that there's all this new technology.
Oh my God.
So with AI and everything, like, there has to be a way for people who work a 9 to 5 to be able to do that as a side hustle.
Yeah. ChatGPT, watch my stocks.
But onto that topic of, like, how do you do it all? Because like, all the things we have to do. You have to make sure that you're taking care of your skin. You have to make sure that you're drinking enough water. You have to make sure that you're working out. You have to make sure that you are eating right. You have to make sure that you're cooking for all your meals. You have to make sure that
house clean.
The house is clean.
Your dog is fed.
Your dog is fed.
Your husband's fed.
Your husband is happy.
The high maintenance, all the things. Yeah, I don't know.
There's so much to keep up with.
I don't know.
As a woman,
as an adult woman, the laundry. Can we talk about the fucking laundry and the dishes that just don't stop? Yo, I really cannot. We could have a whole episode about just laundry and dishes and shit like that. Like,
we really could.
Yeah, like, how do you do it all? I really don't think you do. I don't think you do. Like, it's, if we're being realistic, you DoorDash dinner every fucking night, regardless of your intent to cook. Fuck that. I just busted my ass at work. No thanks. And you want me to cook with fucking pots and pans? No thanks. And then clean it up? Hell no. The dogs get kibble. The laundry room, close the door. No one needs whatever's in there. That's not my business. And, you know, skincare, that's the one luxury I give myself these days.
Skin's looking amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And I think that's like
as a woman, like, we have so much to keep
Yes, because that's the expectation. Like if we were to go out in public, it's not. Trust me. There's days where I just don't give a fuck what I look like. But if I were to do that on a normal, regular basis, without the eyebrows, the mascara, any type of anything on my face, I would get some side eye.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably be single, to be honest with you, because otherwise I just look like a sea turtle.
There's just so much to keep up with.
Yeah. Like, the pressure to keep up with it.
Appearance, fashion.
And at 30, like, gravity does, like, in a way, take over. It was like the beginning of the end when it came to, like, being youthful and young for me.
Yeah.
Because your body no longer, your ability to produce collagen and whatnot decreases. Yeah. So then it's like, well, shit, now I need to take that supplement.
The supplements. That's another thing I have to keep up with.
Yeah, it's almost a disaster. It's like you need a rule book of everything you need to do. Truly, like on a daily basis. Because I feel like, there's Luna's hair. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with.
Too much. But as we turn 30, we accept that you don't have to maybe have all that shit together.
No, you don't. Because if we're being honest, women who are 35, women who are 40, women who are 50 probably don't have their shit together.
Yeah.
And I really think it's all about how you're pulling it off, because I've had people tell me, you've really got it together. And I'm like, bitch, who?
Yeah.
I'm like looking around, like, who are you talking to?
Right.
And I'm like, if I give that off, if I give off that energy, then good for me.
It's kind of like you fake it till you make it.
Yeah, because I'll just never forget, kind of one of the first times that I met you, I was like, okay, she knows what she's talking about. Like almost intimidating, in a way, intimidating, in a good way, not a scary way. But I'm like, okay, she's got her shit together, man. Like, I ain't f***ing with this one. Like, you know? And it's interesting because I do feel like 30 is almost a cutoff of, okay, I have to be an adult now.
Yeah.
I don't get to just fuck around and say, oh, I didn't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the less I care about what people think,
yeah,
the less that I will feel the pressure from the people.
Yeah.
And so that is what I'm trying to learn. That is one of my goals as I turn 30 is like to just let go of like the people pleasing.
Yes.
Because that's why we want to like make it seem like we have it together, because we want to please others.
Yeah. We want to look good for society. And if we're being really honest, no one's watching you. No one gives a damn, because everyone's really so infatuated with themselves anyway.
Yeah.
So it's almost a negative way to spend your energy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I overthink a lot. Like whenever I'm like in a social setting, or whenever like I'm like in a meeting, or whenever I'm like somewhere or with someone or something, I overthink about what I say or how I act. When like the other person probably, like, even if let's say it was something that was cringe, that person's gonna think about it for 2 seconds and forget about it. It's not that serious.
Meanwhile, 5 years from now, you're gonna wake up in the middle of the night still thinking about
it, dreaming about it. Like,
like, and you're like, God dang,
oh man,
like they definitely remember that.
Why did I say that? Do you ever do that where you just like, I should have said this differently, or I should have responded this way to that.
100%. I think we all have moments like that. At least one. And if you don't, then I'm nervous for you.
Right. Well, because the other thing I wanted to mention is that, like, for me, I'm the type of person that when I first, like, see you, when I first, like, when I'm like in public or whatever. Yeah, like I'm just very closed off.
Yeah.
I'm very like I just try to get my feel about the person, and I guess that's from like trust issues. But I to some people, like I've had people tell me like you're not the first one that said that they thought that I was intimidating, because I've had people tell me like, yeah, like you have
RBF
and like, you know, and you know you don't seem that friendly, and it's just because like I was, for example, my neighbors, I was driving down and like I'm in my own world a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally in my own world a lot, and I'm just driving down. I just want to get home. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
And like I just want to get home. So like if someone is walking down the street, I'm not like, hi.
Oh God, yeah.
And I don't realize that, and so I'm driving home, and they're like smiling and saying hi, and then I just like snap out at them,
right.
And I'm like, oh shit, hi. Like, but yeah, I had like a RBF.
Yes.
And so I try not to be, but like yeah, but and the other thing is like when you do get to know me, like I love hard, and like I love hard, and like when it comes to like my friends and my family, if anybody messes with them, like I will go for you. Like I don't play about my people. And so you'll see that like people will think of me as maybe being like too nice or too sweet to them. Which is fine. Like honestly, like that's fine. Like I've had to accept the fact that people are going to think what they want about you, and like as long as like you know like who you are,
right.
And like people don't know you.
Yeah, and let them think that.
And it's okay too.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad some people think that I'm the sweetest as well. Like
yeah,
I get both, and like I'm glad that people think that too, because like honestly, it is good to be a sweet person, right?
Yes.
But just people don't want to see other things, and like I'm gonna say that like the people who do know like my other side of me, for instance, is like people who are very close, people who just know me, and like who just have seen and have kind of where I've expressed what I've been through, and so that's the thing with people is like, you know, you just have to take whatever they're giving you, and you know, just take that, but knowing that there's just so much more to a person.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you said, if someone wants to have a negative thought or say some bullshit about you, let them say that shit, because they obviously don't know you.
Yeah. And
it's outside of your control anyway. So if you're gonna spin your wheels, getting upset about things you can't control, then think about where you could be putting that energy. Because honestly, I think the people who know you. You know what I mean? Exactly. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like they know your heart, and they know what you're about and what you stand for, and whenever they hear some sideways shit like that, they're probably gonna be like, yeah, that's cap. Like, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, just like people are gonna think what they want to think.
Yeah. And
you're always gonna be evolving, and that's okay.
And this is 30. Hell yeah.
And there's no apologies for it.
No, absolutely not. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Well, I guess this is a great time to wrap this up.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
What do you think?
Tell us everything. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for joining us, and I can't wait till we can share a little bit more about everything else that's coming.
It's gonna be great.
But anyway,
episode 1 in the books.
Woo! Denise and Sam,
thanks for having us.
And we're out.
We're out, girly pops. Have a good one, bitches.